If you worked in fundraising, you probably have heard the term give, get, or get off. It refers to board members. In other words, you give, or you get off the board. So let's say you had 10 board members and each board member was required to raise $100,000. Well, out of the chute, you're raising $1 million, 10 board members at $100,000. But you're probably not serving the community very well because you're not represented by the community. Is your community that you're serving really composed just of people of high, ultra high net worth? So consider this. A nonprofit requires that a board or cabinet member makes a certain dollar amount. They're not going to be able to make that certain dollar amount. You're not going to be able to have a school teacher or someone that lives in public housing be on your board. And yet your programs might be in the schools and might be in public housing communities. So you want to build a board that truly represents your organization. And you also want to build a community-based fundraising model. I'll give you an example. I worked with a small educational nonprofit that served at-risk kids in public housing communities. And most of their board members could write a $100,000 check, no problem. Interestingly enough, some of the board members didn't make a personal gift at all. They got gifts from their corporations. More on that later. And then you had one person that lived in public housing, and her monthly donation depended on how much her water bill was. And they also had a 6th grade teacher, which was fundamental to the program because a lot of the kids, once they finish 5th grade, they go to middle school in the 6th grade and they start getting suspended and we lose the kids after 6th grade. So having her on the board was just fundamental to helping donors and the community at large understand what the organization did. I wholeheartedly recommend you take steps to build a community-based fundraising model. In other words, you can do simple things like hold board and committee meetings in areas where your program serves. So if you serve elementary schools, have your board meetings or committee meetings at an elementary school or have them in after school community centers in public housing. You want to recruit authentic voices from the community. Again, that 6th grade teacher, someone from public housing, a principal or a teacher from the schools that you serve if you're educational. And you want to hire fundraisers or fundraising staff that come from the community that you're serving. In your fundraising efforts, you want to create opportunities for donors to further their understanding of the work of the program. And you want your nonprofit programs rooted in social and economic justice, so your fundraising can also be rooted in social and economic justice. This is accomplished by moving towards more mission-based fundraising, which forges a we rather than the appearance of the mutually exclusive words and worlds of donors and beneficiaries. Instead of the we and the othering, have a more mission-based fundraising effort. And all who engage in strengthening the community are equally valued, volunteers, staff, donors, and board members. And a final example, that 6th grade teacher I was telling you about that was on the board of the small nonprofit that serves at-risk kids in public housing, we involved her on a solicitation of a billionaire. And the billionaire remarked that it was really amazing to be in the same room with someone who was literally right across the table from the students that the donor was going to be providing money for. She really got to understand why 6th grade was just so essential to the mission of the organization and why her contribution of creating a 6th and 7th grade study hall in a new building would just be fundamental to the success of the kids in the program. So there are really unique ways that you can involve your board members that truly represent the community and get away from the give, get, or get off that too often permeates fundraising with nonprofits.